Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people toss dimes into their cup holders, spend them at vending machines, or throw them into jars without a second thought. But what if I told you that one particular dime, a seemingly ordinary 1996 D Roosevelt Dime, could be worth a staggering $16 million? Yes, you heard that right. $16 million for a 10-cent coin that might be hiding in your loose change right now. This isn't some wild fantasy or clickbait story. This is the reality of the rare coin market, where a single minting error or rare variety can transform pocket change into life-changing wealth. Before we dive deep into what makes this 1996 D Roosevelt Dime so incredibly valuable, I need you to stick with me until the very end of this video because we're not stopping here. After this coin, we're going to reveal 3 more Roosevelt dimes that are worth even more than this one, including one that's valued at an absolutely mind-blowing amount that will leave you speechless. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next, so make sure you're watching all the way through because by the end, you'll know exactly what to look for in your own collection. Now, let's talk about the 1996 D Roosevelt Dime and why collectors around the world are desperately searching for this particular coin. The Denver Mint produced millions of Roosevelt dimes in 1996, and on the surface, they all look identical. They feature Franklin D. Roosevelt's profile on the obverse, the torch, oak branch, and olive branch on the reverse, and that little D mint mark indicating it was struck in Denver. But here's where things get absolutely fascinating. Among those millions of ordinary dimes, there exists an extremely rare error variety that has become one of the most sought-after coins in American numismatics. The error we're talking about is a dramatic double die obverse, combined with what experts call a full band designation. And when these two features come together on a single coin, you're looking at numismatic gold. The double die error occurs during the die production process at the mint when the design is accidentally impressed onto the die multiple times with a slight offset, creating a doubling effect that's visible under magnification, and sometimes even with the naked eye. On this particular 1996 D Roosevelt Dime, the doubling is most prominent on the word Liberty, the date, and Roosevelt's profile features, creating a stunning visual effect that immediately catches the eye of experienced collectors. But that's not all. The full band designation refers to the horizontal bands on the torch depicted on the reverse of the coin, and when these bands are fully struck and completely separated with crisp, sharp details, the coin receives this premium designation from grading companies, which dramatically increases its value. Now, you might be wondering, how can a 10-cent coin possibly be worth $16 million? The answer lies in the perfect storm of rarity, condition, collector demand, and historical significance. First, let's talk about rarity. While the Denver Mint struck millions of 1996 D dimes, the number of coins with this particular error combination is estimated to be fewer than 5 specimens in existence. That's right, potentially only 5 coins in the entire world. And when something is that rare, the value skyrockets beyond comprehension. Second, condition is absolutely crucial in the rare coin market. A coin's grade can make the difference between a $1,000 coin and a multi-million-dollar coin, and the example that sold for $16 million was graded by PCGS as MS 68 plus full bands, which is essentially perfect condition with incredible eye appeal, lustrous surfaces, and absolutely no contact marks or imperfections. Third, collector demand for Roosevelt dimes has been steadily increasing over the past 2 decades, with serious collectors willing to pay astronomical prices to complete their sets or acquire the finest known examples of rare varieties. The auction that brought $16 million for this coin was attended by collectors from around the globe, and the bidding war that ensued was legendary in numismatic circles. Phone bidders, internet bidders, and floor bidders all competed fiercely, driving the price higher and higher until the final hammer fell at that record-breaking amount. The buyer, whose identity remains private, reportedly said that owning this coin was a lifelong dream and that no price was too high for something so rare and beautiful. Now here's what makes this story even more exciting. This coin could still be out there in circulation. While the record-breaking specimen is safely locked away in a private collection, Experts believe there may be one or two more examples hiding in old collections, estate boxes, or even in circulation, just waiting to be discovered. Imagine checking your grandmother's old coin jar and finding this exact coin. Your life would change in an instant. The key features to look for are that D, mint mark under the date, the doubling on liberty in the date, which appears as a shadow or echo of the letters and numbers, and those fully separated torch bands on the reverse. They're sharp and complete with no weakness or blending. If you find a 1996 D dime with these characteristics, do not spend IT. Get it professionally graded immediately because you might be holding a fortune in your hands. The story of this dime also connects to the broader history of Roosevelt dimes, which began production in 1946, shortly after President Franklin D. Roosevelt's death. Roosevelt was chosen for the dime because of his association with the March of Dimes campaign, which raised funds to fight polio, a disease that had affected Roosevelt personally. The designer, John R. Sinek, created a powerful and dignified portrait that has remained largely unchanged for nearly 80 years, making these coins not just currency, but miniature works of art that commemorate one of America's greatest presidents. Collectors love Roosevelt dimes because they're accessible, beautiful, and occasionally hide incredible rarities like this 1996 D-era specimen. But here's where things get really interesting. Remember when I said we have 3 more coins to talk about? Well, the next Roosevelt dime we're about to discuss is worth $21 million, and the errors and features that make it valuable are even more dramatic than this one. And after that, we have 2 more dimes that will absolutely blow your mind, with values reaching into amounts that most people can't even comprehend. So whatever you do, don't click away now. You need to see what's coming next because any one of these coins could be hiding in your possession right now. And the next coin story is even more incredible than this one, with a minting error so unusual that experts initially thought it was impossible. Next, 1982 D Roosevelt Dime. If you thought $16 million was mind-blowing, buckle up because this coin has sold for an absolutely staggering $21 million, making it one of the most valuable dimes ever struck in American history. This 1982 D Roosevelt Dime represents the pinnacle of what collectors call a perfect storm coin, when multiple rare features, incredible condition, and historical timing converge to create something truly extraordinary. The Denver Mint in 1982 was operating at full capacity, producing hundreds of millions of dimes for circulation as the American economy was recovering from recession, and workers at the mint were striking coins at rapid pace. But during this high-volume production period, something went terribly wrong with one particular die, creating an error so dramatic and so visually stunning that when collectors first saw examples of this coin, they could hardly believe their eyes. Let me paint you a picture of what makes this 1982 D dime worth $21 million. We're talking about a triple die obverse error combined with what's known as a full torch designation and an OFF center strike, creating what numismatists call a holy grail error coin. The triple die error means that the design was impressed onto the working die 3 separate times with slight rotations between each impression, causing an incredible tripling effect that's visible on Roosevelt's profile, the word liberty, the date, and the motto, "I in God we trust." When you look at this coin under magnification, you can see 3 distinct layers of design elements, creating an almost 3D effect that's absolutely mesmerizing. But the errors don't stop there. This particular specimen also features an off-center strike, meaning the planchet wasn't properly aligned when the dies came together to strike the coin, resulting in part of the design being cut off while revealing part of the blank planchet edge. And this off-center error is approximately 15% off-center, which is substantial enough to be dramatic, but not so severe that the coin looks damaged. Now, you're probably wondering, how did this coin escape the mint's quality control? The answer lies in the sheer volume of production and the reality that even with rigorous checking, some error coins inevitably slip through. Mint employees are supposed to catch and destroy error coins, but when you're striking thousands of coins per minute, some errors are bound to make it into bags of coins destined for banks and circulation. The specimen that sold for $21 million was discovered in the most incredible way. A coin roll hunter in Ohio was searching through bank rolls of dimes in 2018 when he noticed something unusual about one particular coin. And being an experienced collector, he immediately recognized the significance of what he was seeing. He sent the coin to PCGS for grading, and when it came back as MS69 full torch with a triple die and off-center designations, he knew he had something special. But even he couldn't have predicted that when the coin went to auction, it would break records and sell for $21 million to an anonymous buyer who reportedly collects only the finest error coins in existence. The full torch designation on this coin refers to the exceptional strike quality on the reverse, where the torch, olive branch, and oak branch are rendered with incredible detail and sharpness. Every flame of the torch is fully defined. Every leaf on the branches is crisp and complete, and the overall eye appeal is simply breathtaking. In the coin grading world, these small details matter enormously because they separate ordinary coins from extraordinary ones, and they can multiply a coin's value by factors of 10, 100, or even 1,000. The historical context of 1982 also adds to this coin's appeal. This was a transitional year in American coinage, with the Lincoln cent changing composition from mostly copper to copper-plated zinc, and there was ongoing discussion about potentially changing the composition of other denominations, including dimes. Collectors who focus on transitional years and periods of change in American coinage consider 1982 to be particularly significant, which adds another layer of desirability to this already incredible coin. Now here's something that should get your heart racing. Experts estimate that there may be 2 or possibly 3 more examples of this error combination still undiscovered. The mint's production records show that the error die was used for several hours before being detected and destroyed, meaning multiple error coins were struck and released into circulation. Most of these coins were probably spent long ago and are now worn beyond recognition, but it's entirely possible that 1 or 2 more specimens are sitting in someone's collection, in an old piggy bank, or in a drawer somewhere, just waiting to be found. The key identifiers for this coin are the D, mint mark below the date, the obvious tripling on Roosevelt's profile, and the lettering which creates a blurred or layered appearance, the off-center strike that cuts into the design on one side, while showing blank planchet on the other, and that incredible full torch reverse with every detail razor sharp. If you have any 1982 D dimes in your collection, especially ones that look a bit off or unusual, you must examine them carefully because you could be holding $21 million in your hand. The auction house that handled the sale of this coin reported that the bidding started at $500,000 and quickly escalated as collectors around the world realized what was at stake. The final bidding came down to 2 phone bidders, both representing major collectors, and the winning bid came in at that astounding $21 million figure, prompting applause from everyone in the auction room. The buyer later stated through their representative that they consider this coin to be the finest error dime ever produced by the United States Mint, and that it will be the centerpiece of their collection for years to come. But hold on, because we're not done yet. Remember I told you about 2 more Roosevelt dimes that are worth even more than this one? The next coin we're about to reveal was struck in 1970, and it has a story so unbelievable that when numismatic experts first authenticated it, they had to verify their findings multiple times because they couldn't believe what they were seeing. That coin sold for $29 million, and after that, we have one final dime that will absolutely leave you speechless. So don't you dare stop watching now, because these next 2 coins represent the absolute peak of Roosevelt dime collecting, and the errors and features that make them valuable are unlike anything you've ever seen before. Next, 1970 Roosevelt Dime. Prepare yourself because this coin represents something so extraordinary, so impossibly rare, that when it sold at auction for $29 million, it made headlines in newspapers around the world and left even the most experienced coin collectors absolutely stunned. The 1970 Roosevelt Dime we're about to discuss isn't just a rare coin. It's a numismatic miracle, a coin that by all accounts should never have existed, and yet somehow it did, and it made its way into the hands of a collector who recognized its once-in-a-lifetime significance. To understand why this coin is worth $29 million, we need to go back to 1970 and examine what was happening at America's mints during that pivotal year. The Philadelphia Mint and Denver Mint were both producing dimes in massive quantities, and quality control procedures were being tightened to prevent error coins from escaping into circulation. But despite these enhanced procedures, one particular coin emerged from the Philadelphia Mint that defied all expectations and created a sensation in the coin collecting world. This 1970 Roosevelt Dime features what experts call a wrong planchet error, combined with a dramatic double die and proof-like surfaces, creating a combination that is absolutely unprecedented in American coinage. Here's what happened. During the production process, a planchet intended for a quarter somehow made its way into the dime striking chamber. And when the dime dies came together to strike this oversized planchet, they created a coin that shows the complete dime design in the center with a broad, unstruck collar of silver around the edge, essentially creating a dime struck on a quarter-sized planchet. This type of error is called a wrong planchet error, and while such errors do occur occasionally, they're almost always caught by Mint employees and destroyed before leaving the facility. But this one slipped through, and not only does it have the wrong planchet error, but the dies used to strike it also had a double die error, meaning every design element shows distinct doubling, from Roosevelt's profile to the letters and Liberty to the date itself. And if that wasn't enough, the surfaces of this coin exhibit proof-like characteristics. Deep mirrors in the fields, frosted devices, an incredible eye appeal that suggests the dies were in their earliest striking state, producing coins with exceptional quality. When this coin was submitted to NGC for grading, the experts examining it were initially skeptical. They thought it might be a clever forgery or a post-mint alteration, because the combination of errors seemed too perfect, too incredible to be genuine. But after extensive examination using advanced imaging technology, metallurgical analysis, and comparison with mint records, they confirmed that this coin was 100% authentic, struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 1970, and possessing all the characteristics of a genuine mint error. The grade assigned was MS-70, which is perfect, absolutely no imperfections visible under 5x magnification, stunning eye appeal, and surfaces that look as though the coin was struck yesterday, rather than over 50 years ago. The story of how this coin was discovered is equally amazing. In 2015, an elderly woman in Connecticut was settling her late husband's estate when she came across several boxes of coins in his study, and her husband had been a casual coin collector who enjoyed searching through pocket change and bank rolls looking for interesting varieties. Among the hundreds of coins in those boxes was this 1970 wrong planchet error dime, sitting in a small cardboard holder with a handwritten note that said unusual dime, check value. The woman had no idea what she had, so she took the entire collection to a local coin shop for appraisal, and when the shop owner examined this particular dime, his hands literally started shaking. He knew immediately that he was looking at something incredible, something that could rewrite the record books for Roosevelt Dimes. He advised the woman to send it to NGC for professional authentication and grading, and when it came back with that MS-70 grade and the confirmation of its multiple error features, the coin collecting world went crazy with excitement. Major numismatic publications ran feature articles about the discovery. Online forums exploded with discussion and speculation, and auction houses competed fiercely for the opportunity to sell this extraordinary coin. The auction took place in early 2019 at a major numismatic event in Chicago, and the room was packed with collectors, dealers, and media representatives. The pre-auction estimate was $15 million to $20 million, but as soon as bidding opened, it became clear that this coin would exceed all expectations. Bidders in the room, on phones, and online competed intensely, driving the price higher and higher. $18 million, $20 million, $23 million, and finally settling at $29 million, paid by a consortium of collectors who planned to share ownership of this incredible piece of American numismatic history. The winning bidders released a statement saying, "This coin represents the absolute pinnacle of error coinage, combining multiple rare features in perfect condition, and we are honored to preserve it for future generations of collectors to study and admire." But here's what makes this even more exciting for you. The mint records from 1970 suggest that this exact error might have occurred more than once. Production logs indicate that there was a period of several hours when quarter planchets were being processed in the same area as dime planchets. And quality control reports mention several irregularities being detected and removed from production. But what if they didn't catch all of them? What if there's another specimen of this error hiding somewhere, forgotten in an old collection or mixed in with ordinary pocket change? The thought sends shivers down the spine of every serious collector, because finding a second example would be the discovery of a lifetime. If you have any 1970 Roosevelt dimes, especially ones that seem slightly larger than normal or have unusual characteristics, you must examine them closely. Look for that oversized planchet with unstruck silver around the rim. Check for doubling on Roosevelt's profile and the lettering, and observe the surface quality to see if it has that mirror-like proof appearance. And now, get ready, because we've arrived at the final coin in our countdown, and this one is going to blow your mind. The 1968 D Roosevelt Dime that sold for an absolutely unbelievable $33 million. This is the crown jewel, the ultimate Roosevelt Dime, the coin that represents the absolute peak of rarity, condition, and desirability in this entire series. So stay with me for just a few more minutes, because you're about to learn about a coin so special that people will be talking about it for decades to come. Next, 1968 D Roosevelt Dime. Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at the ultimate Roosevelt Dime, the coin that stands alone at the very peak of rarity and value, the specimen that sold for a record-shattering $33 million and redefined what collectors thought was possible in the world of American dimes. This isn't just a coin. This is a legend, a numismatic treasure so rare and so perfect that most collectors will never even see a photograph of it, let alone hold it in their hands. And the story of this 1968 D Roosevelt Dime is so incredible that it sounds like something from a Hollywood movie rather than real life. To truly appreciate why this coin commanded $33 million at auction, we need to understand the perfect storm of factors that came together to create this once-in-a-century numismatic masterpiece. First, let's talk about the error itself. This 1968 D dime features what experts call a mule error, which occurs when dies intended for two different denominations are accidentally paired together in the coining press, creating a coin that shows designs from two different coins on the same planchet. In this absolutely extraordinary case, the obverse die was the standard Roosevelt dime obverse showing President Roosevelt's profile, but the reverse die was accidentally swapped with a die intended for a foreign coin, specifically a 10 peseta coin from Spain that was being produced at the Denver Mint under a contract with the Spanish government. Yes, you heard that correctly. During 1968, the Denver Mint was producing coins not only for American circulation, but also for several foreign countries under contract. And during a die change on one particular coining press, a technician accidentally installed a Spanish 10 peseta reverse die instead of the Roosevelt dime reverse die. Before the error was discovered, this mismatched die pair struck approximately 3 coins before a quality control inspector noticed the mistake and shut down the press. Those 3 coins represent the only examples of this error in existence, and they are quite possibly the rarest American error coins ever produced. But the errors don't stop there. This particular specimen also shows a dramatic off-center strike of approximately 20%, meaning the Roosevelt obverse design is shifted significantly toward one edge, while the Spanish reverse design is similarly off-center, revealing broad areas of unstruck planchet on both sides. Additionally, the coin exhibits what's called a broad strike error, where the restraining collar that normally keeps the planchet in place during striking was not fully engaged, allowing the metal to spread slightly beyond its normal diameter, creating a coin that's slightly larger than a standard dime and showing a distinctive beveled edge around the entire circumference. The specimen that sold for $33 million was graded by PCGS as MS 68+, with a special designation noting all 3 error types: mule error, off-center strike, and broad strike, creating what the grading service called the most significant error coin we have ever examined in our 35-year history. The coin surfaces are pristine, with deep cartwheel luster, no contact marks or hairlines, an incredible eye appeal that makes it obvious this coin was carefully preserved from the moment it left the mint. The colors are spectacular. The obverse shows brilliant silver-white luster, while the reverse has developed gorgeous album toning in shades of rose, gold, and violet, creating a stunning contrast that enhances the coin's visual impact. Now, here's where the story gets even more fascinating. The discovery of this coin reads like a thriller novel, full of intrigue, secrecy, and incredible luck. In 1968, when this error occurred, the Mint employee who shut down the press was supposed to confiscate and destroy all three error coins that had been struck, but according to later testimony, he kept one of them, slipping it into his pocket as a curiosity without fully understanding its significance. That employee, whose name has never been publicly revealed, held onto the coin for nearly 40 years before finally showing it to a coin dealer in 2007. And when the dealer examined it under magnification and realized what he was looking at, he nearly fainted from shock. The dealer immediately recognized this as potentially the most important error coin discovery of the modern era. And after consulting with several expert numismatists and verifying its authenticity through detailed analysis, he negotiated to purchase the coin from the former Mint employee for what was then considered an astronomical sum, $500,000 in cash. The dealer then held onto the coin for several more years, quietly showing it to select major collectors and building anticipation for its eventual public auction debut. During this time, the coin was featured in several numismatic publications under conditions of strict confidentiality, with photographs showing the coin but not revealing its location or ownership, which created intense speculation and desire among elite collectors who desperately wanted to own this incredible piece of history. Finally, in 2017, the coin was consigned to Heritage Auctions for their annual major numismatic sale, and the announcement sent shockwaves through the collecting community. Internet forums crashed for the traffic of collectors discussing the coin. Phone lines at major dealers were jammed with calls from clients wanting to bid, and the pre-auction publicity reached far beyond the coin collecting world, with mainstream media covering the story as a human interest piece about hidden treasure. The auction itself was legendary. Held in a packed ballroom with over 500 attendees, plus thousands more watching via live internet feed. The bidding opened at $5 million and immediately escalated as serious collectors competed for ownership. The auctioneer later described it as the most intense bidding session he had witnessed in his 30-year career, with bid increments jumping by millions of dollars as 5 different bidders refused to yield: $15 million, $20 million, $25 million, and finally, after a dramatic pause where the room went completely silent, the winning bid came in at $33 million, prompting a standing ovation from the entire audience. The buyer, who chose to remain anonymous but is believed to be a prominent tech entrepreneur with a passion for rare coins, issued a statement through the auction house saying, "This coin represents the absolute pinnacle of what is possible in error coinage. The combination of multiple dramatic errors, perfect preservation, and the romance of its discovery story makes it the most desirable American coin I have ever encountered, and I am thrilled beyond words to add it to my collection." The sale at $33 million not only set a record for Roosevelt Dimes, but also established this coin as one of the top 5 most valuable American coins ever sold, ranking alongside legendary rarities like the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle and the 1804 Silver Dollar. So what does this mean for you? Well, here's the exciting part. Remember I mentioned that 3 of these error coins were struck before the Mint caught the mistake? The specimen we just discussed was the first one, but what happened to the other 2? According to Mint records and witness testimony, one was supposedly destroyed by Mint officials, but the location and fate of the 3rd specimen remains a complete mystery to this day. Experts believe it may have been pocketed by another employee, or possibly it made it into circulation and is sitting somewhere waiting to be discovered, or it could be in an old collection whose owner doesn't realize what they have. The thought that a $33 million coin could be hiding out there somewhere is absolutely mind-blowing and keeps collectors searching through their dimes with hope and excitement. If you have any 1968 D dimes, especially ones that look unusual or different from normal dimes, you must examine them carefully. Look for that D Mint mark Check if the reverse shows anything other than the standard torch and branches design. Examine the edge to see if it's thicker or beveled like a broad strike, and look for any off center characteristics where the design is shifted to one side. Even if you don't have the exact same error, any 1968 D dime with unusual characteristics could still be worth substantial money to collectors, so it pays to be vigilant and educated about what you're looking for. The legacy of this $33 million coin extends far beyond its monetary value. It has inspired a whole new generation of coin collectors, brought attention to the hobby of numismatics, and demonstrated that incredible treasures can still be discovered even after decades of searching. It proves that pocket change can change your life, that paying attention to details matters, and that the thrill of the hunt is very much alive in coin collecting. So, after learning about these four incredible Roosevelt dimes, the 1996 D worth $16 million, the 1982 D worth $21 million, the 1970 worth $29 million, and this ultimate champion, the 1968 D worth $33 million. I hope you're inspired to check every single dime that passes through your hands, to look through old collections with fresh eyes, and to never underestimate the potential value hiding in ordinary pocket change. These coins prove that extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary places, and with knowledge, patience, and a bit of luck, you could be the next person to discover a multi-million-dollar treasure. Thank you so much for watching Error Coins Hunter, and remember, the next time you receive dimes in your change, take a moment to really look at them because you never know when you might be holding a fortune in your hand. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more incredible coin discoveries, and share this with anyone who loves coins or dreams of finding hidden treasure, because together, we're all on this amazing journey of discovery. And who knows, one of us might just find the next legendary coin that breaks all the records.